are so excited to have this celebration and bring books to the community. Shout out Dr. Megan Holt, who makes it all happen. Thank you to the space for hosting us. Thank you to the caterer for keeping us fed. Thank you to Community Book Center next door, who we have a special gift card to give to somebody, and our random generator winner was Valentine Pierce.
Oh, wow.
You get a gift card from Community Book Center. Megan's coming with it now. So we've always worked with Tubby and Coos. They've been our bookstore for years and years and years. They're wonderful. But now we're next to this great bookshop, which is the oldest Black-owned bookshop in town. So this is how we find a way to, work together and bring people over there too. So whether or not you have a gift card, go buy books. One more announcement: at 2 p.m. there's going to be a special secret performance that you're going to want to see, is what I was told. So don't run away right after, but hang on a minute and see this special 2 p.m. performance. Yeah, we're excited for it. So welcome to Po-Boys and Poets. You've got your po-boys in hand, you've got your poets seated with us. Thank you again, Megan, for all that you do to bring this festival to life. This series was a dream I had the first time I sat down in Washington, D.C. at Busboys and Poets, which is a restaurant, a bar, a bookstore, and a community gathering space. Does that sound familiar if we look around? It took its name from Langston Hughes, incidentally Dr. Holt's favorite poet. Oh, and our book's Aaron Valentine Pierce. And this year's theme for the festival is art, landscape, and public spaces, which has made me think a lot about our community, about the environment, but also about neighborhoods and how important of a public and private space a neighborhood is, and how crucial it is to have good neighbors. I'm looking around, I see Mr. Rhea, my neighbor, that when I was traveling earlier this fall, I got a text: I broke in your house and left some soup in your fridge for when you get back. You can't ask for more. We have to show up for each other as neighbors. So thank you all for being part of this community that makes this happen. And moments like this always bring to mind Joy Harjo's poem, Perhaps the World Ends Here. In this poem, she writes, "The world begins at a kitchen table. No matter what, we must eat to live." I think of this festival as this table, which, she writes, has been a house in the rain, an umbrella in the sun. At this table, we sing with joy, with sorrow. We pray of suffering and remorse. We give thanks. I was thinking about this poem while revising a new poem of my own, which I'd like to read to open our event, which I don't usually do, but it's new, and here we go. It's called When We Don't Have Power, after Ida. Some of y'all are visiting, a lot of you were here when the storm knocked out our power for 2+ weeks for most folks. When we don't have power. Perhaps the world had ended there. The screenless windows all open, the dog panting on the bedroom floor, slapping mosquitoes into my leg, hair, and sweat. My phone charged in the car, and the missing neighbors called and called, evacuees texting me lockbox codes for house keys, worried about the lives they left here in the dark. Angelo lit his grill in the street, and together we emptied my fridge, then his, then Meg's, then Miss Sylvia's, and a breeze kicked up, and everyone on the street gathered, ate chicken thighs and egg rolls and waffles, and the ice cream was already gone, and we shared the bar of good dark chocolate, but left the coffee beans alone. No power, no grinder, though the water from the faucet came out hot enough to brew. This wasn't our first blackout together. When the lights go out, we never know how long it will last. I'm trying to tell you that we're used to being let down, left in the dark, and how I know what Joy Harjo said is true. The world will end at the kitchen table while we are laughing or crying or both. I'm also trying to tell you that we don't need power to show up for each other in so many small, sacred ways to eat the last sweet bite. Please continue to eat, fill your plates, move around throughout the luncheon. Please make sure your phones are silent. announcements, and remember, books are for sale in the back. Support our poets. A wise woman once told me, poetry, where tens of dollars can be made. Yeah, support your local poet. I will offer an introduction to each poet as they come to the stage, but you can find full biographies by following the QR code to the program. And up first is Juan Morales. Juan Morales is the son of an Ecuadorian mother and Puerto Rican father. He's the author of 4 poetry collections, most recently Dream of a Bird Tattoo, which has stolen my heart for thanking the X-Files in its acknowledgments. Truly, these are remarkable poems that mirror Juan's remarkable personality. We first met at the Longleaf Writers Conference, which is magic, where Juan's presence outshone the Florida sun, and his enthusiasm not only encouraged me as a writer, but as a runner. We literally woke up to run a damn 5K together at 8 a.m. after being on the beach partying all night. Juan has been granted Cantomundo and Macondo fellowships, among several other awards. His work is so thoughtful, sensitive, and gasp-worthy. In a poem about finding gifts from a lost father, Juan writes, "We accept his breadcrumbs from the afterlife as reminders that we are together now and lucky to be here." We're lucky to have Juan here in New Orleans with his family. Please welcome Juan Morales.
Hey friends, how are you?
Good.
All right, cool. Stacey, thank you for that beautiful introduction. It was a poem, frankly. That was gorgeous. So thanks in part to all the organizers, Megan, Stacey, the book folks, the tech folks, and all of you in your community for having me. It's a real honor to travel to this part of the country. I've been to New Orleans, this is my second time, and the last time it was for 48 hours for a training, and my colleague who came with me, he's like, "Hey, what are you gonna do?" Or I was like, "What are you gonna do?" And he said, "Well, I think I'm just gonna get some room service, grade some papers, and go to bed." And I discovered very quickly that's the wrong answer. And while I was in New Orleans that time, I had a buddy that was texting me all the places to go because he was from New Orleans. And yeah, it's been as wonderful this time as well. So, and I'm appreciative that I could share some poems with you all. So, prior to the Dream Tattoo collection, I want to share with you some zombie poems because we're just coming out of spooky season, and I've already gone to one voodoo shop down here. So, yeah, this is called the Handyman's Guide to End Times. And yeah, I'll just read you. We're gonna call them zombie love poems. The long engagement. Will you shoot bottles with me on weekends shortly after the first reports of attacks? Will you grimace next to me when the television signals black out from the dropped warheads glistening on metropolises? Do you promise to huddle next to the radio with me until we lose all voices to static? Will you dig the fallout shelter we are not meant to finish, share weary smiles and brush ash from my hair too? I will walk beside you on the rubbled streets and overstomped fields, resist picking the only flowers left for you, kill whatever is edible in times of rationing and scavenging, and sleeplessness and dehydration, in fever and epidemic for as long as we are both human. Let us be happy adding broken electronics and blood tools to the ready kit. Promise, even if you don't believe in God anymore, we will finally have quality time together with our respirators, and we will dance into a life of running hand in hand through the charred aftermath, counting our bullets and our blessings one by one. We have a lot of great writers, so if you want to snap it up instead of clap, that's okay with it. That's okay. But thank you. Yeah, I'll just read the last one from this book. It's called Z Harmony. Pause for a minute. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, right? Okay. Z harmony. When you're undead, the compatibility parameters expand. You're caught in the rot of your own bag of skin with one ravenous mouth and two hands to claw down a kill. You know mass with others like you, and no longer worry about first date jitters, ordering a dish with garlic, how long to wait before you text or call, or narrowing the fields, one nervous coffee at a time. If only old instincts could fire brain cells again to yearn for the one who could fall, for your unique bite wounds and scratches, or look past the dab of victim on your face that defines the new you, the one in a staggered gait missing a shoe. You were once the guy who she could teach to use chopsticks, who always opened the door or offered the crook of your arm during a walk, who could follow her to a favorite clearing with a blanket to watch for falling stars. But now, love starts by sharing screaming flesh captured in chase, playing it hungry, almost confident. You don't have to worry anymore about her getting tired of your jokes when you moan out to your undead match. The one to share harmonious wanderings toward brain binges, the one you wouldn't have found in the herd unless you died first. You've adapted together, even if you cannot tell her how divine she looks tonight, or how somehow in her tattered, reanimated body she glides. Thanks. So this book is called Dream of the Bird Tattoo. Thanks for the thoughtful introduction again, Stacey. In 2019, on Groundhog Day, my father passed away. My father was 86. He was a hardcore Puerto Rican, U.S. Army veteran. Definitely like a large energy and personality in our family household. So it was, and on a personal note, it was like my first hard encounter with grief. Despite all the anxieties and fear that kind of came with that, I decided to try to write through that grief. And so yeah, but my father was also like a really funny guy too. So I'm gonna read some bummer stuff, and then we'll unbummer it. Is my game plan here, okay? Because I think grief should go hand in hand with humor. I think it's really important. And I think that kind of goes for the dark times that we may be going through right now. Wink. I'll start with the first one. This is called Of Avocados. Like two hands pressed together, they are twice as large on the island. One feeds the family meal, sending us to wonder why are they so small stateside. On our last visit to PR, we sat on my tio's patio to talk and drink cafecitos. My dad stared down the giant tree burdened with dark green fruit. His brother didn't offer him a single one. My tio died soon after. Dad kept bringing up the abundance his brother never offered, not as a grudge, but as a recollection of what we still couldn't get in the States, of what was delicious enough to keep all borders open. Within the year, 2 more of my dad's siblings passed away, and last week we lost him, a man who planned to return for one more avocado. For each of us, he would have peeled away craggy skin, parsed flesh, and held out those green wedges on his knife points. We would have accepted it as one last gift to savor. This one's called Visiting Your Grave. I speak to white marble marking your name, rank, and wars at the Pikes Peak National Cemetery. I read your favorite psalm in a poem with my family behind me, waiting in the grass on a hot morning the day after your birthday. Just before arriving, I took a wrong turn and kept driving into Eastern Plains where pronghorns tried to tell me something about quiet. Some grazed and others rested, blending in yellow grass under a cloudless sky. We affirmed you would have liked it here. Pikes Peak still holds a cap of snow, and I'm thinking of rivers running high this summer, me crying behind sunglasses, a personal flood. I promise to return soon with a kiss on top of the tombstone, like I used to peck you, my beautiful father, on your stubbled cheek. So, all right, doesn't that sound wonderful and snappy? It's a good sound. Thank you. So, in addition to my father's passing and grief work, my father started visiting me in my dreams, and it was cool, but it was also not cool crying every time I woke up, just kind of like, it's like, why are you crying? It's like, well, Dad had to pop in again. So the veil, or Dad checks in with another dream. We are walking into a massive building in a giant city swimming in shapes and traffic. Outside, my father smiles and leans against a pillar. I slap him on the shoulder and my wife jokes with him, uh-oh, looks like this stranger wants to give us trouble. My dad shoots back, no, pretty lady. I just came by to make sure everything's okay. We tell him everything is fine and pause together to take in the metropolis with all of its fog, light, and shadow, bustling somewhere on that line where the living and the dead have no problem meeting. Okay, I got a question for y'all. Your hospitality is wonderful. I'm gonna cuss in this poem. Is that okay? This feels like such a sacred space. I want to either like honor that or, well, regardless, I want to honor the space. So, all right, I saw a few nods like don't worry about it. So I'm gonna pretend that. And if I offend, I'm sorry. But as you'll see with these quick poems I'm gonna read. With my father and with my household, profanity was a form of communion and bonding, and it's just the vernacular we enjoy. It's called My Father's Blasphemy, or excerpt from Shit My Puerto Rican Father Said. It is music that spits in the face of the church, adding shit, whores, leaving bread, and classic F-bombs. We know it better than any scripture. My sister's brother and I quote him with the same pauses and emphasis that taught us, you cannot always hold compassion in your heart. Sometimes you must tell the insurance agent who just raised your premiums, I might be a little man, but I will stomp your ass all over this parking lot. When my dad's knees swelled up from embedded grenade shrapnel from the Korean War, Mom wouldn't let him mow the lawn. He argued his case. The doctor don't give a shit if I cut the grass or if I set it on fire. The compromise was him supervising, me mowing, and her not watching him mow. Whenever she went inside, he took the mower away to cut a row of grass before giving it back to me. I tried to cover for him by mimicking his form and style. My father's version of the talk happened when I was 17. I was driving, and I remember the stretch of Cheyenne Mountain Road just before the movie theater and shopping center. He turned and asked, "Do you know about sex?" I answered, "Yes." He concluded the conversation with, "Good, don't do it." He changed the subject back to silence, leaving me with what I needed to know. On a rainy day, before leaving for school, my mom asked, "Juancito, do you need an umbrella?" Before I could, my father answered, "For me, Maria, he don't need no stinking umbrella because he's tough. T-O-F, tough." I remember wondering if he would spell out the whole word or not. Every time my mom would say, "Maybe we should get a dog," Dad would tell her, "If you want a dog, I can bark." Every time I called my parents, I eased into speaking Spanish with my mom for a while. I got comfortable, she taught me new words, and she corrected me when I stumbled. When she passed the phone to my father, he greeted me with, "What's up, bucko?" and chit-chatted sports and talked to me in English. I asked him how he was feeling. He always answered, "I'm cool, baby. I'm cool." All right. Cool. Speaking of cool, baby, this is my last poem. I'm going to read the last poem in the collection. I really appreciate your time, your attention, and your energy, and letting me be present in your community. It's a real honor. And it is such a cool place. We're excited to spend the next few days exploring. So if you have any good further recommendations of gluten-free stops or just ways to kind of powerfully nerd out on birds, plants, and places like this space, let us know. It's called Dream of the Bird Tattoo. It's the title poem. After the medium told me a strange bird would visit me, I obsessed over every sparrow and finch in our yard, including the one that perched outside the kitchen window, head tilted in curiosity. The yellow prairie warbler chased moths around the neighbor's red maple. I counted Mississippi kites whistling high above, green hummingbirds flitting through to nourish on our succulents, and crows dogfighting with red-tailed hawks. Every bird reminded me of avian populations in decline, but they ignored my personal need for prophecy. A few nights later, with my eyes closed, my deceased father stood before me with face obscured. His shoulder tattoo of La Golondrina stirred. Then the swallow climbed off his shoulder as a green phoenix made of neon light. It shook its wings and told me, "This is the bird you're looking for," before flying out of the dream and waking me just like sunrise. Thank you so much.
Michael Kleber-Diggs stepped in to read for us. So Michael is a poet, essayist, literary critic, and arts educator. He's the author of Worldly Things, which won the Max Ritvo Poetry Prize and was published by Milkweed in 2021. And that's a big deal, that prize, y'all. His work is quietly bold, exploring themes of intimacy, community, empathy, and grace, beliefs that I also share with him. And I think we both believe that they're simultaneously distinct and interdependent. And by his work, I mean on and off the page. We've only just met, but I know Michael is doing the good, important work of poetry, which is not drafting or revising or editing or publishing, but showing up in community, bringing words where they are welcome and to places with innumerable barriers. Yesterday, he brought a workshop inside the Louisiana Correctional Institute for Women. Tonight, he'll be in discussion with Allison Pellegrin and Adam Clay about the work he does reading and writing poetry inside the prisons. Our moment here is small, he writes. I am too, a worldly thing among worldly things, reminding us that a small moment can hold a universe of change. We're so grateful that he's joining us this afternoon to offer a reading of his own poems. Please welcome Michael Kleber-Diggs.
Good afternoon. I am a friend of Brian Turner's, and I'm a Brian Turner fan, and so I feel tremendously honored to step in on his behalf. I thought I'd start with a Brian Turner poem. This is R&R. The curve of her hip where I lay my head. That's what I'm thinking of now. Her fingers gone slow through my hair on a blue day, 10,000 miles off in the future somewhere, where the beer is so cold it sweats in your hand. Cool as her kissing you with crushed ice, her tongue wet with blackberry and melon. That's what I'm thinking of now. Because I'm all out of adrenaline, all out of smoking incendiaries. Somewhere deep in the landscape of the brain, under the skull's blue curving dome, that's where I am now. Swaying in a hammock by the water's edge, as soldiers laugh and play volleyball just down the beach, while others tan and talk with the nurses who bring pills to help them sleep. And if this is crazy, then let this be my sanatorium. Let the doctors walk among us here, marking their charts as they will. I have a lover with hair that falls like autumn leaves on my skin. Water that rolls in smooth and cool as anesthesia. Birds that carry all my bullets into the barrel of the sun. Yesterday with Louisiana Poet Laureate Emeritus Allison Pellegrin and poet Adam Clay. I was deeply honored to facilitate a workshop at the Louisiana Correctional Institute for Women. We worked with a number of very talented writers over the course of 2 hours, and they dove right in. I'm so excited to be in conversation with Allison and Adam tonight to talk about our work, sharing creative writing with people who live in correctional facilities, and I'm really just so grateful that I got a chance to do that. Yesterday we talked about a golden shovel, which is a poem where the last word in each line comes from another poem, from a quote, from a song, lyric, and in honor of the writers I met yesterday, I wanted to read a golden shovel that is in my important worldly things, called America is Loving Me to Death. America is loving me to death. Loving me to death slowly, and I mainly try not to be disappeared here, knowing she won't pledge even tolerance in return. Dear God, I can't offer allegiance. Right now, 400 years ago, far into the future, it's difficult to ignore or forgive how despised I am and have been in the centuries I've been here. Despised in the design of the flag and in the fealty it demands, lest I be made an example of. In America, there's one winning story, no adaptations. The story imagines a noble, grand progress where we're all united, like truths are as self-evident as the Declaration states, or like they would be, if not for detractors like me, the ranks of vagabonds existing to point out what's rotten in America, insisting her gains come at a cost, reminding her who pays and negating wild notions of exceptionalism, adding ugly facts to God's favorite nation mythology look, victors get spoils. I know the memories of the vanquished fade away. I hear the enduring republic erect and proud, asking through ravenous teeth, who do you riot for? Tamir? Sandra? Medgar? George? Brianna? Elijah? Philando? Eric? Which one? Like it can't be all of them. Like it can't be the entirety of it. Destroyed brown bodies, dismantled homes, so demolition stands even as my fidelity falls, as it must. She erases my reason too. Allows one answer to her only loyalty test, yes or no, Michael. Do you love this nation? Then hates me for saying, I can't. For not burying myself under her fables where we're one, indivisible, free, just, under God, her God. think it works better if I tell you in advance that the line that I'm quoting at the end of each line is from the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag. Anyway, America's loving today. I have a few more poems. My book was one of the books that was uploaded by Anthropic AI to feed the algorithm to learn how to write and create things. And yeah, I feel all kinds of ways about that. Earlier this year, my daughter entered a prompt into AI to write a poem in the voice of Michael Kleber-Diggs. And this is a poem about that. The title is, my daughter asks AI to write a poem in the voice of Michael Kleber-Diggs, and what comes back has a tree in it. And it kind of sounds like me. On the main wall in our living room, above the television, there hangs a modern painting that was created by an elephant. On the back of the frame, if you want, you can examine its certificate of authenticity. The painting is abstract and was made only with shades of red, not the only color the elephant could have used. I bought the painting years ago after seeing an ad in the New Yorker, art by elephants. I got to choose from a few options, but this one really spoke to me. It still does. I'm pretty sure I would have bought it even if I didn't know how it was made, although, yeah, I mostly bought it because of how it was made. Because of who made it. For the story, I guess. The painting. You'd have to see it. It ain't for everyone. Not everyone appreciates it like I do. I'm not entirely sure Karen likes it, which is one of the few things that distinguish it from a different painting in the same room. One above our mantle. An oil-on canvas stunner made by a human being. A woman we admire a great deal. An artist building quite a career. That painting depicts an intense teen, a stern girl holding an orange in her right hand. The girl and the orange are both set within a stark winter landscape, so the orange really stands out. It produces heat and light like the sun. The vibrant reds and orange work together to add a lot to our living room. My way of saying our home would not be our home without art. Paintings, photographs, textiles, small sculptures, glassworks, clay creations, a wistful old cello, song, things people make, and my goodness, one thing an elephant made, which I can tell you now, having admired one of her paintings for more than 2 decades, makes her a being I have come to know in a way, just as I have come to know her strange red painting, just as we come to know good friends through stories they share with us over many visits. I didn't get the elephant's painting for a long time, but one day, suddenly, I saw it. There in the middle, the countenance of a person rendered in the darkest red, almost brown. A forehead and brow, a nose and mouth looking right at the artist, or maybe beyond her big ears a bit, at what I imagine as a savanna, mostly prairie. Probably thatching grass with perhaps a single acacia or baobab tree off in the distance. Something wild but intentional like that. Something divine and organic. One of those complex, uncanny, enduring creations. I'm going to close with two poems about my grandparents who meant a lot to me. My twin brother and I lost our father suddenly when we were 8 years old. And in the wake of that gigantic disruption, we landed in, I think, probably the best house on earth. with grandparents who were just steady and calm and who I didn't realize it for a really long time, rescued the trajectory of my life. And so I think of them often and write of them often. Before I share these two poems, thank you, my goodness, One Book, One New Orleans. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Allison, for yesterday. Thank you for tonight. Thank you for all the rides. Thank you, Stacey. Wait, where's Stacey? Oh, thank you so much. That was a really beautiful introduction. I'm grateful. Thank you to the bookstore, to the bartender, to the sound team. Thank you, Juan. Beautiful. This is a poem called Bounty. Granddaddy carves the turkey. You should see his hands. Layers of sun for brown, burgundy, brown, mahogany, brown. Fingers crooked like tired fence posts. Multicolored nails, mostly rust, jagged and shorn. Knuckles like golf balls. Hardly any bend to them. Hardly any need to bend past what they can do, which is a lot. Directly across from him, Grandmommy is fluid grace, brow glistened up, hair just so, eyes hard at work, making sure nothing is missing. Face soft with fatigue, face soft with gratitude, arms soft, hands. All this bounty of creation, her creation. The tiny house huge. The dining room expands into their living room. Everyone still here is here, gathered around one table. Grandmommy, Granddaddy, Mama, but not Dad. Both aunts and my uncle, 2 of their spouses, all 9 of their kids, everyone seated together, packed in tight. If I lower my hands, I'll have to wait until dinner is done to raise them again. Heads bow. The good Lord makes some assurance. Plates pass in a rehearsed dance, our family's choreography. This day, so familiar. This day, so different. Everyone gets as much as they want of whatever they want. We have food enough for days. It wasn't always so, but that was before me, and even before Mama. I take an extra roll and too much butter. I claim a fat drumstick. Everything is delicious. Everything salted, just right. It is helpful to know that my grandmother's name is Grace. My grandfather's name is Arthur. Everyone called her Gracie and Art, but not me. All of us grandchildren, deep into adulthood, always called her Grandmommy and Granddaddy. I think everybody knows, but just to make sure, a hot comb is a comb with very fine tines that you would set atop the stove to heat up and then pull through your hair to straighten it. Okay, this is ode to my grandparents' buttercream yellow house on East 8th Street in Wichita, Kansas. Home of grace and art, and theirs, and theirs. Tiny house, tiny rooms, still somehow massive enough to hold generations all at the same time. Ask the house, and the house will tell you that many celebrations it held, not all of them bittersweet. Some seemed quite pure, I'm pretty sure, although I was young. I was perhaps too young to know what I know now. Nostalgia is a form of romance. Romance is a kind of distortion. Some things end up hidden, omitted. I was young. My eyes stayed usually drawn to the hazy way the sun came in through windows above her kitchen sink. My ears mostly tuned to the realistic radio, perpetually in the coucher's corner and almost always on. And things were shielded from me too, I'm sure. I'm sure of it. But now I'm drifting. This is supposed to be about the house. Family always entered through the side door right into her kitchen, and often she was there, cooking, cleaning, hot combing hair. Everybody slick with grease or sweat, or grease and sweat. In other words, work and risk, present right there with her arthritic hands, our tender scalps, the iron cone fine and hot enough to burn. And here's what sauce for her exceptional care. I'm drifting again. The yard, impeccable. The abundant garden in the back by the weather-worn shed. The tiny dining and living rooms, 2 small bedrooms sandwiching a single bath that was also quite small but was indoors. The solid door that barely missed the bowl. The heavy tub and floating sink. Tonics and razors in the cabinet. And the tiny slit where spent blades settled and are settling still. Of this, I am certain. The level porch he added off the back. The basement he finished partially. A bedroom added down there when their 5th child arrived. That child sleeping not far from all the goods she canned and preserved and made good use of, made good meals of. Their children, well, all except for the one they lost. And their children's children, returning home for suppers every major holiday. That little house leading each of them to larger houses somewhat far away, but also, somehow, always back there. We are still back there, all of us. So this is an ode to what that little house allowed, held. All of us, ideas, dreams, creation, goodwill and error, forgiveness, and concrete things like patience, bridges, strings of code, planes, students, photos and poems, and all manners of passengers. Oh, there I go. There I go again. Thank you.
This event is so stunning, and it's been happening since 2018, and Megan reminded me that the first Poets and Poets featured 2 poets laureates, Alison Collier and Juan J. who are both here today.
The first one?
Wasn't that the first one?
Was it?
I think it was.
2018.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, the pictures just showed up in my memories, but I didn't realize it was.
I think that was the very first one.
First one.
Up next, we have Patavian Lewis, who is a world-renowned musician and poet extraordinaire. We've only just met, but her energy is just infectious, and I'm super excited. Her stunning vocals have landed her on albums with her granddad, George Clinton, and the P-Funk All-Stars at age 4 or 5. When you're this much of a legend, you're not even sure when you started. She began writing poetry soon after and kept at it. She recently released her debut solo album and poetry chapbook, both entitled The Red Balloon. In 2014, she joined P-Funk as a vocalist and spent 7 years performing at major festivals on stages around the world, including Glastonbury, The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and many others. Her dedication to her work is matched by her dedication to her loved ones. Patavian is currently raising her kids while simultaneously in nursing school, which is truly incredible. And I'm so grateful that somehow she found the time to be with us today on this little ACC lobby stage. Please welcome Patavian Lewis.
Thank you guys for having me. I am truly, truly, truly thankful and blessed to be here. This is actually only my second reading, so I am very, 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 very honored to be here with you guys. I'm actually just gonna go ahead and let you guys know that every time somebody asks me to talk about like this poetry, I always give them like a really vague, like generalized, like, oh, this is what this poem is about. And I decided that today I'm gonna be a little bit more vulnerable with you guys and let you know what this is really about. So, yes. I am gonna start off with one of, I've been writing poems since I was a kid, but this one particular poem I wrote when I was 15. And every time somebody asks me, like, what is this poem about? I'm always just like, oh, you know, just me as a teen, I was a kid. It's called Forever, Never Ended at an R. What it's really about is when I was 15, I just turned 15 in September, and 9/11 happened, and my grandfather was on tour. My brother was away at college. He couldn't get home. My grandfather couldn't get home. And my grandmother was just completely distraught. She was absolutely distraught. And I didn't know what to do. And my boyfriend just broke up with me, so my life is really a wreck. It was a disaster. And I wrote this poem because I wanted to, I guess, make my mother feel kind of the way that my grandfather and my father and all of the writers in my family make, you know, their peers and their, you know, all of their family feel. I wanted to make her feel better. So I wrote this. It's called Forever, Never Ended at an R. If love could tell time, see how it would be endless. When passion does speak, limits will fail to exist when the clock ticks way too long. When the low seas high, I dwell on your simple raft of happiness. It holds well unconditionally. That is why we together shall not sink, but float to both our hearts' way. Where the undertows of tenderness drag you gently, one will prefer to reside. And if they all but drown you, you must take in the waters of love's fondness and wish to never exhale. For if this separation is all too together, when your eyes fall, I will drift and grow weary in reality, but not hope that you will wake me of a four-letter possibility. When the thoughts of some entrance from this fantasy uprises a bland vomit of non-existence, words can be soured beyond that of hurt and sorrow. To see the hands that hold your hope, to the arms bearing leftover gravity that has not kept you grounded empty, makes you think of all the watches left unbroken. If the fowls of the air begin to smell of a three-word stench, you need not freshen all the world, but liquefy thy nose's treasure and trust that it cannot evaporate. When love's acid burns a sweet burn and lives an infinite life, it won't hesitate to do everything but die, because forever never ended at an R. Okay, this next one, I'm just gonna go ahead and read The Red Balloon. And this poem is about me being in foster care. My parents didn't raise me, so they gave me up. They told my grandfather, hey, you gotta come get her, you gotta take her. So I went to Michigan and I stayed for a minute, me and my brother, but I had to leave and I had to go back to California. And when I left, something happened. It all I don't know what happened, but I ended up in foster care. So I didn't have my parents, I didn't have my grandparents, I didn't have my brother, I didn't have anybody. And I was just sitting there, 3 years old, just waiting for somebody to come get me. And so looking back at that, I remember my grandmother coming with some balloons for my 4th birthday. And I thought I was going home. I'm like, this is it, I'm breaking out of here, bye. And she wasn't. She was just coming to drop off the balloons. And I watched her walk away, and I didn't know if I was going to be in there forever. It was just so, I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to see any of my family again. So this poem is about, you know, my experience in there and how I was feeling, you know, in foster care. The red balloon goes up, up, up. If I let go, maybe it would catch up to the shadow of the kid that left today. She found balance, or maybe balance found her. She rocks back on her heel. 1, 2, 3, then up on her toes and into the car. This one's small and gray and quiet. The cars, they always come, but the cars don't come for me. I watch them from the window. They pull away slowly. 1, 2, 3. 10 seconds at the light and left. Now her space is empty like all the others. But someone will replace her soon. Maybe she'll be my red balloon again when it comes down, down, down. I think by then she might have a new shadow. Okay, this next poem is called Rocket, and it's about my husband. I'm just gonna go ahead and let you. It's about my husband. Quick little backstory: when me and my husband is back there, so strapping and handsome, and he is the keyboard player for my grandfather. And when I came into the band, me and my husband did not get along. The sparks did not fly. It was not good. I got on his nerves. He got on my nerves. It was just like whatever. And then, I don't know what happened, years later, I think maybe I noticed he had a beard and something happened, I think, maybe. But now here we are, 3 children later, and honey, I sometimes still feel this way about you. It's called Rocket. Strap me to a rocket, blast me off into a world of you and I, where I can vivaciously untape my mouth and let all that I've held pour out of me, where never can maybe, and maybe could be always, and always is forever, and forever is us. Where I can inundate you with my heart and show you that sleep is far and few between my pillow. You've become my sheep. All I can do is count you over and over and over at night, as you're limitless in number these days. Grant me understanding of how love could be so malicious and relentless, knocking me on my knees, begging for it to cease and continue, cease and continue, all at once. Allow me to love you without restraint now and be punished for it later. Let me uncover myself and adorn for you, assured that you will take me everything I am and never let go. Lead me to this chasm I have fallen deeply into without conviction. Although I've tried, my heart is unmoving, inert, and interlocked with yours. Pardon the dust. All I have left is a failed effort to pull away as the knot continues to tighten. I realize how I wanted so to remain tangled up in you. Strap me to a rocket, count it down, blast me off into a world where I can pull you under and drown you inaudibly. Only needing the look in my eyes and the touch of my hand that is desperately trying to say more than I love you. Wow, but your catch. Okay, this next poem is called Cockroach, and this poem is an interesting one. I went through a program where you go through healing, and in this program they teach you how to be like a coach, like a certified abuse coach and addictive recovery coach. But first you have to go through the program yourself, gain the certification to be an abuse and addictive counselor. And this poem is about one of my classmates. She had been going through just a lot with her husband, and she had to escape him. He was very abusive. And I remember her saying that one day she saw a cockroach, inside the house, and she wished that she could be the cockroach because the cockroaches are able to escape so quickly. And she was stuck inside the house, she was stuck inside her mirror, she was a prisoner. And to hear somebody say that they want to be a cockroach, they'd rather be a cockroach than be a human being is crazy. That just speaks to the amount of pain that she endured. And so I wrote a poem just in my eyes based on that. There's a place where I could be the cockroach and you could be the crack. Maybe you would feel the way that I, even at rest, curl you, bow you, press you, contort you with intent and design to eventually move through you. But I'm never the cockroach. I'm always the crack. Okay, this next one is called Nightly News, the Nightly News, and this one is one that's a little bit difficult for me. I wasn't gonna read this one, but I'm gonna read it for you guys. This backdrop is pretty much the stuff of nightmares for a kid. This is like the boogeyman, this is the setting of, every kid's nightmare. I am a victim of sexual abuse. And so this is pretty much what that was like. The Nightly News. There used to be a pile of magazines next to the TV. Every day the pile shifted. Every day it was different. Sometimes the top was on bottom and the bottom was on top. One by one, year by year, I sneakily threw them out until they were all gone. Who the hell keeps magazines by the TV anyway? But they're never really all gone though, are they? There's always one, up under the other, up under the other, up under the covers, until there's a mountainous pile right up over you. I don't care much for magazines really, and I don't much care for the nightly news. As long as I don't peek inside, I'll be okay. Okay, this next one is called Clarendon. Clarendon actually, I don't know if any of you know, Clarendon was actually the name of a filter, like when people started using filters really heavily on social media. Clarendon was one that I remember people using a lot. It kind of had like a grayish, blackish tint to it, and everybody was using it. And so this is just kind of a poem that just is talking about how it felt like there was no authenticity. When we were putting our pictures and our lives out there, everyone was able to kind of just filter themselves and be what they wanted to be and take it down and put it up again and put a filter over themselves. And it was like a mask to me. And so this poem is, just kind of about, I don't know, the age of social media. No one can keep a secret. For everyone we uncover, we share 10 of its harebrained jokes. How long do we have to need to get to stay here? Mind disconnected from my mind, eyes disconnected from your eyes. We've officially lost our way back up. It's good, it's bad. No, maybe I don't know. Maybe just a couple more comments and we'll have our minds made up. No one can keep a secret. The truth is, Clarendon isn't keeping you as cool as you think it is. There is no still or snap or little red bubble outside the glass. No magic eraser, no wizard-like edit to like and unlike and accidentally like again, to eventually decide we don't like it. We love it here. We know we can take it all back. We can make like it never happened. We can make it like it happened just so. No one can keep a secret. Thank you. Just a couple more. Okay, this next one is called Eclipse, and again, it's about my husband. But this one is a little different though. This one is about like me and my husband, we decided we're gonna do this thing, we're gonna be together. It was really intimidating because my husband is this world-renowned George Clinton's keyboard player, and I just was feeling like me, like a little old me, you know, you're big time, you want me. And I was feeling a little like insecure. I didn't know if I could live up to, you know, all that he wanted me to be. And so this poem is a little bit about my insecurity when we first got together. Eclipse. Dear son, I think I love you. Would you love me if you knew I only spin around one, but they all spin around you? I wish I could cover up the scars on my face the way you do. Maybe then you'd think I was beautiful. Dear son, I'm always opposite you. Would you know if I was close by? It would take hundreds of thousands of me to shine anywhere near as bright as you. I don't know if it's worth it, but this distance, it hurts, and I'm not quite sure what to do. I can't seem to get next to you. It'll take months to get to you, but only minutes to get through you. There must be a way, a better way. The sun can really be with the moon. Thank you. Okay, and the last one that I'm gonna read, this is called Rock, and this one was about when I first got on the road. I just kind of had this expectation of what I thought it was gonna be, especially since I was on the road with my dad, and my dad didn't raise me, so I just kind of was like, oh, I'm gonna be on the road, me and my dad, we're gonna connect, it's gonna be this, I'm gonna get to discover, you know, this road life and see, you know, why my grandfather was, you know, away and touring, like it's gonna be so great. And it was really hard for me, it was really tough, and I kind of got a wake-up call because it was wonderful, but it took me a minute to warm up to it. It took me a minute to kind of get acclimated to tour life and being on the road with essentially both of my parents, and so this is kind of a reflection of that. It's called Rock. Today we were the same, but only for a moment, breathing the same air, seeing colors the same way. I got close enough to smell that you're still somewhere far away. Worry was extra sweet on your lips this morning. I know that anguish always lingers behind. What seem to be only moments for you are loops of eternities for me. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You go, rock me, on a stoop I can never get to. Oh well, it almost worked. I almost made you stay. Again, thank you guys so much for having me. It's truly an honor to be invited to do something like this and share my poetry with you guys. And also, The Red Balloon is also an album, so if you're interested, it is streaming on all platforms if you're interested in listening. Thank you.
What a treat! I thought this is okay. Well, Skye's tall, so we'll leave it remember special performance at 2. Skye was born and raised right here in New Orleans. Her debut collection, Libre, was recently published by Regalia Press, and we've all fallen so deeply in love with it. Skye's energy is beautifully infectious, as is her poetry, which has won too many awards, fellowships, and prizes to list. In 2024, she was appointed as the chairwoman of the New Orleans Poetry Festival Board, and she currently serves as a visiting writer and lecturer at Xavier University. She's so deeply entwined in our poetry community. 2 nights ago, I watched her get on stage and present an award to Dr. Mona Lisa Saloy. I mean, like, come on, these rock stars. Neither of us can remember how or when we first actually met, but I treasure all of our time shared in our poetry and personal lives. Skye has the gift of really seeing you, really recognizing you. She's guided me through some dark times and truly brightens every space. There's no better oyster date than Skye, even when the world is spinning backwards. In her poem, Until the World Ends, she writes, I wonder when the stars fall down and the seas dry out, when we become maggots and the maggots become us, will we even recognize each other when the only thing we have left of this world is us? I share this wonder, and the more I read her work, the more I realize the answer is yes. Yes, we will. Please welcome Skye Jackson.
Hey everyone! Oh my God, thank you for that wonderful introduction, Stacey. I was gonna cry. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm not gonna take up too much of y'all's time, but I wanted to begin with an anecdote from earlier today. So I have another job where I write poetry for strangers, and so I had to do it this morning at a hotel downtown and then a race over here. But this morning, I met a man, and he was like, can you write me a poem? And I said, sure. And I said, what do you want your poem to be about? And he said, the invisible man. And I was like, tell me more. And he said, you know, as a black man in America, I don't feel seen. I feel like, you know, if I am seen, I'm objectified, or I'm viewed as a threat, and I just want to be seen as my whole self. And he asked me, he said, do you have brothers? Do you have men in your life? You know, what, do you see them? And I said, yeah, I do. And so this is for my brother. Which one? And it begins with a quote from the Washington Post on June 22nd, 2020. It is very uncommon for young black men to commit suicide, let alone by hanging. I hid the gun when my father asked me to. My little brother told my parents twice what he planned to do. They were alarmed, after all. Their oldest son had chosen rope instead. His body bent limp into dangled bloat. The brown skin around his neck peeled off into strips. They tell me suicides always leave a note. But my older brother, who often wrote and always drew, somehow forgot as he tightened the noose. As I tucked the gun away in my dresser drawer and buried it beneath folded clothes like a gift hidden away to surprise a friend, I heard the past echo of my father's voice in my head. Your brother's dead, breaking cool like ice on that warm August night. And I remember that I couldn't bear to ask him which one. Always really hard for me to do, but it felt like it was in the air this morning. This poem is called Both Hands on the Wheel. I think of Philando Castile's murder every single summer. And the moment I heard about it in my Hollywood studio, so hot, even the walls sweated. On my phone, I watched as a black man raised his hands and lost his life. Somehow, the cell phone camera captured the last breath fleeing from his body. I thought of my father, tired, white-collared and necktied, both hands on the wheel of the family SUV, hurtling towards home down some dark country road. Or my little brother, cruising through a bustling city, tan convertible top down, the wild thick tufts of his black hair dancing in the wind. Until he is stopped by some sunglassed officer and leaning out of the window of his blue Fiat, code switched, breath clipped, as a millennium slips between his hand and pocket to show his ID to the cop as he wonders whether it is safe or not to ask, "Why did you pull me over, officer? Why did you pull me over?" Thank you. This next poem is called The Boys with Dead Mothers Get Better with Time. The boys with dead mothers get better with time. The white boy in law school eluded me like a flash of light in murky water, hid me away in study rooms or his parents' Mississippi mansion like a letter that wasn't supposed to be read. Or when I asked him about the book in his car, The Goldfinch, after we spent the night together, he told me it was about a boy in a painting, not a boy and his dead mother. How years later, it would all make sense. In LA, the boy with the dead mother begged me not to leave him the first night we met. Over Louis Armstrong and wine, he kissed me and just said, "Stay." In New Orleans, the boy with the dead mother tells me that he missed his mother's gravy at my parents' house this past Thanksgiving. He asked me if we can roast a chicken to replicate the thickness of the sauce, the way she smeared seasoning all over it. He tells me how he and his father fought over the bacon she laid tender over the breasts like blankets. Why do I love boys whose mothers are dead? What am I hoping that they see in me? What am I hoping that they don't? Thanks, y'all. Maybe I'll try to read something on a lighter note. I want to write more poems about joy. That's my goal. I don't know how, but I'm gonna figure it out one day. I promise. Thank you. Thanks for all the time. All right. This one is called Grocery List for when my ex comes to visit. Seltzers of all flavors, that green salsa he likes, avocados, wine on tap, spaghetti sauce, bubble bath, lavender Epsom salt, pillar candles, whiskey for balcony hot toddies, condoms, black teddy, sheer lace stay-ups, various meats he'll want steak, coffee, bread, another mug to finally place next to mine on the shelf. Black beans, brown eggs, tissues, matches to start a fire neither of us will know what to do with. A gift for him, Lucille Clifton divination cards. Later in my kitchen, he will pull one card from the deck. It reads, "Today we are possible." Exactly 3 beers. The strain to watch him walk through the door. The acceptance distance if he chooses to walk out of it again, and scissors to cut down my braids when he flies out on Monday morning.